Carbon credits in your net zero position face auditor scrutiny. The carbon credits in your net zero position are about to face auditor scrutiny. Not all of them will hold up. A UN decision adopted in Bonn this week reopened one of the most historically problematic categories in carbon credit history. That is worth paying attention to, not because the new methodology is bad, but because it is a signal of where auditor and regulator scrutiny of carbon accounting is heading. And most sustainability teams have not reviewed their credit inventory with that lens. Carbon credits have spent the better part of 3 years under sustained credibility pressure. Investigative reporting, academic analysis, and regulator interest have all converged on the same problem. Credits that were purchased as verified emission reductions often were not. The voluntary carbon market's reputation took damage it is still recovering from. And this week, the UN body overseeing the Paris Agreement's carbon market formally adopted a new methodology to generate credits from reducing nitrous oxide N2O emissions at nitric acid plants, which happens to be the exact category that sits at the center of the most documented abuse in carbon market history. That is not a reason to dismiss the decision. The Article 6.4 supervisory body, which met in Bonn this week, adopted the N2O methodology alongside 2 other tools specifically designed to prevent the problems that defined the old Clean Development Mechanism, CDM, a tool on lock-in risk, which stops credits from projects that entrench high-emitting technology, and a revised additionality standard, which tightens how projects prove they go beyond business as usual. Those were exactly the guardrails the CDM lacked. Whether they hold up under real-world project conditions is a question the market will answer over the next few years. What matters now is what this week's action signals for the companies sitting on existing credit positions. Why N2O credits were the CDM's most discredited category and what that history means for current inventories. Between roughly 2005 and 2012, N2O abatement credits from nitric acid plants in China, India, and South Korea generated a disproportionate share of CDM credits. Investigations found that some plants were deliberately running inefficient processes to maximize credit generation, then installing abatement equipment to earn credits for reducing emissions they had artificially inflated. The European Union eventually banned CDM N2O credits from its trading system. The episode became a case study in what happens when financial incentives overwhelm verification systems. Companies that purchased CDM-era N2O credits and still carry them in their carbon accounting have an inventory problem. The credits are not worthless in every accounting context, but they are the first thing a rigorous third-party auditor will flag. Under the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directives, CSRD, assurance requirements, the Science-Based Targets Initiative's SBTI, credit usage policies, and the SEC's climate disclosure rules for companies subject to them, carbon accounting is increasingly subject to the same scrutiny as financial accounting. Auditors are not going through credit inventories to confirm purchases. They are going through them to assess quality. What the Paris Agreement crediting mechanism decision means for companies evaluating new credits. The Paris Agreement crediting mechanism, PAC-M, is designed as the high-integrity successor to both the CDM and the voluntary carbon market. The N2O methodology adopted this week is one of its first operational products for industrial emissions. For sustainability teams evaluating new credits to support net zero commitments, the PACM's additionality and lock-in standards represent a meaningfully higher bar than many voluntary market credits have historically met. Nitrous oxide itself is significant. Its atmospheric concentration has risen roughly 40% since 1980. It is covered in 97% of current nationally determined contributions, NDCs, and its warming potential is far greater than carbon dioxide, CO2 per unit. Abatement credits from legitimately verified projects carry real environmental value. The question is whether the verification holds. Next week's compliance theme starts Monday. For sustainability teams, the carbon credit question belongs in the same conversation as stormwater permits and heat disclosure. They are all positions that look fine until someone with authority reviews the documentation. Getting there first is still the better option. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.